Welcome back to CryptosRUs. I am George. We're all George. So, what is going on this morning? Let's talk about everything that's going on, including massive whale activity for Bitcoin. What does that mean? Why is there such large amounts of whale activity? Well, let's talk about it. And let's talk about why you should get ready for it. All right. And everything else that's going on today. All right, let's do it. Welcome, guys. We're starting out the day higher than yesterday. 57.8. It's looking pretty good. We're up close to 5% versus yesterday this time. That's pretty darn good. And you got a lot of major movement all across the board. A lot of green, including XRP, still pumping from last night or from yesterday's news. It's looking good so far today, guys. And the U.S. market is looking better today. Yesterday, though, it started in the green and then it went into the red. Right now, we're starting in green. Let's see if it can stay. We are in the green because we did finally get some good news. Okay, the 10-year, well, no, that's not the news. The good news is weekless jobless claim came in lower than expected, okay, which is always good. I mean, obviously, weekless jobless claims is going to deviate week over week. But because of it, the market's liking what it's saying. So that means we're not going straight into recession, right? So there's still hope, I guess, so to speak. 10-year yield jumps back above close to 4%. And overall today, I guess, was good so far. But does that mean that all the recession fears and everything we've gone through last week, does that mean it's over? Well, no, because you know how crypto has the fear and greed index. There's one that's measuring Wall Street too. And we're still in extreme fear level. So I know some may say, well, we're just in a, dead cat bounce or something. I mean, it could be. Like right now, all the problems that we're seeing or hearing from Japan and the U.S., none of it really went away in a week, right? Other than the market seems to have stabilized. But all the problems and all the questions that we have about whether or not a rate cut in September soon enough, and can Powell really stop all the bad things that's happening in the United States, including unemployment now at 4.3%, and these and overall jobs, or the labor market, whether that's actually going to improve, these are unknown things, right? Anyways, don't want to hinder on this point too much, although it's very, very important. It's one of the reasons why we're in Bitcoin, why Bitcoin was created, and why it's a really good idea to load up more while you can. But the last thing I'll say is this. Goldman Sachs CEO David Solomon thinks that we're not going to get an emergency rate cut. Okay, although many people called for it, but I guess it's one of those moments now that the markets have stabilized, no one's really calling for it. The best case scenario is we're just going to get a 50 basis point cut in September. And that's probably better rather than having an emergency cut this month, because that would actually cause more fear, more panic. That means it's so bad that Powell has to do an emergency rate cut off schedule. So I guess we'll see. As the numbers come in every week, if they're looking good or better, then maybe we don't go into recession, or maybe we do. It doesn't matter. We have Bitcoin. Anyways, so as for Bitcoin, what is there? Well, there's a lot of good things. Always a lot of good things. So the ETF update, BlackRock. Look at this. Yesterday, basically everyone, well, at least yesterday, no one really sold besides Grayscale. That's no surprise. Everyone just had like basically zeros, right? Guess what? BlackRock didn't have a zero. BlackRock bought $52.5 million worth of Bitcoin. And again, can you doubt what I'm saying at this point? Look at all the reds and outflows from all the other funds except BlackRock. BlackRock just continues to buy and buy, or they don't buy, but they never sell. That's the thing. They'll just keep buying or not selling, right? While others have in and outs and you know, that's more normal activity, right? Because obviously these are all funds that have shares, and if it makes sense, if Wall Street or whoever buys and sells, then the funds have to readjust, right? But how come BlackRock never sells? because Larry Fink is making sure that no Bitcoin comes out of IBIT. I don't know what he's doing, but he's doing it. There's no red coming out of, I keep saying Fidelity, but BlackRock, right? So Larry Fink knows what's going on. He's doing something, and that something is buying, a lot of buying. And honestly, it's the right time to do it. I don't know if you guys know this. The market downturn or correction that we just had, okay, is the worst one that we had so far in this cycle, going all the way back to January of 23. Okay, we had a lot of 20% dips, 25% dips, but this one that we just went through was a 32% dip. That's the first one in this cycle. Now, if you lived through previous cycles like 2017, this is actually tame. In 2017, we had massive 35, 40% corrections all day long in the bull run, in the parabolic phase too. In 2021, we had a few, but not that many, right? But since the market matured the way it has this cycle, quite frankly, a 32% drawdown is actually pretty massive, right? So Larry Fink knows what's going on. When others are panicking, he's buying, right? That's what the whales are doing. And you should be, because this is a gift. Again, imagine you're shopping for a new house or a new car and you love it, but it's too expensive. And you wait a week and now it's 32% cheaper. Why would you not love it more, right? If you eyed some nice sports car or a new family house, and now it's 32% cheaper a week later, wouldn't you just pounce on it? But somehow with retail investors, that's not how it works. If something goes down 32%, then they want to sell it more. Which makes no sense, right? Which means that they never loved it to begin with. They didn't understand what they were buying to begin with, right? But if you're a true Bitcoin bull, you know this is the greatest asset we have. And when there's opportunities, you pounce on them, right? So what we just went through was one of them. And we're not completely out. We're only still at 57,000. We're not even back above 60,000 yet. So it's not too late. The opportunity is still there. However, you know, like I said, a lot of whale activity is quite high. A lot of whales, they are taking advantage of the dip, of the 32% correction we just had, right? Look at this. Bitcoin whales have been the most active in over 4 months as they accumulate cheap tokens. Well, yeah, that's what you're supposed to do. Again, if you love something and now it's 32% cheaper, why would you not buy more? I bet Sailor's buying right now too. 32% dip is a pretty big dip, right? But we know we're going to go back. We know we're going to recover. So why would you not take advantage? Here's another chart that says the same thing. Supply held by entities with between 100 to 1,000 Bitcoin. That's whale level, right? And do you see how it's just like now parabolically going upwards? It's not even slow gradual anymore. It's parabolically moving upwards. Right? So Bitcoin whales know. They know what's up. So overall, Pretty good. Coinbase Premium Index turned green, surprisingly, right? Well, that's always a good thing. That just shows that there are a lot of people that are still buying, right? Besides the whales, luckily, long-term holders and people that are they're just like shrimp level. There are people that are still buying. The ones that understand, the ones that are watching me right now, right? They understand. And same thing in South Korea. You're seeing the premium. They used to call this the kimchi premium, but I guess that's a little racist there. So they decided to just call it Korean premium. But I always found that was funny. Besides that, Metaplanet, they're getting a loan to buy about $7 million worth of Bitcoin. So again, they're following the same footsteps as MicroStrategy. But on a much smaller scale, but it does not matter. I mean, Japan is in shambles right now. For any company to continue to buy Bitcoin says a lot. Says a lot. But yeah, that's awesome. And their stock, until the recent crash, Metaplanet's stock was up like 80% year to date. One of the hottest stocks in the Japanese market. Right? I don't think that's going to change. Kind of like MicroStrategy. What else is there? Bitcoin miner difficulty. We recovered. There was a lot of talk about miner capitulation and the hash rate started coming down. Difficulty started coming down. It did for a little bit, but look at how it just immediately recovered toward the top there. And now we're at an all-time high. That means the miners are good to go. The smaller miners, the ones that needed to sell or the ones capitulated because they couldn't operate anymore, they're gone. The bigger miners now have turned up their new machines or whatever, and now difficulty is back to all-time high, which means hash rate is back to all-time high, which means the network is stronger than ever. You could argue that Bitcoin network has never been as strong as this. Okay, last few things about charts. I know it's all bullish today, right? I mean, it's good. It's these things have never gone away, right? Mostly, I'm just finding the pieces and putting things together. But I mean, all these things have always existed, really. Maybe not everything, but anyways. As for charts, we're looking at a hammer candlestick, which means that a big reversal is coming up. If you're a charter, if you study patterns, that's what this is showing. Here's another one. That this is actually a fractal pattern comparing to what happened in 2020, even with that COVID dip. And that was a bigger dip than our 32%. That was like approximately like 40 or 45%. But you could see we had three tops, right? And then we had a big dip, and then we had a V-shaped recovery, and then eventually we broke through all tops, right? So are we seeing the same thing? We're not seeing a V-shaped recovery right now, but we are definitely seeing a recovery. It looks sort of like a V. Not that sharp, but if you zoom out, it certainly does look like a V, right? Very similar. I may be wrong. I mean, if you zoom out, it actually does look kind of a V. If we just come right back up, that will be a V-shaped recovery, kind of like this, right? But if you zoom out, it doesn't look quite like a V. But we're still making good. Yeah, that looks good, right? So overall, very similar to what happened in 2020 with the COVID crash. Very similar. And once we do get back up, we will have $15 billion worth of shorts or short liquidations, right? Shorts will be wrecked. $15 billion. Who's shorting Bitcoin at this point? I don't quite get it. We already had a 32% drop, right? Why would you be leaving your short position on? It just doesn't make a whole lot of sense, right? But $15 billion worth of short liquidations, I'm looking forward to that. Lastly, as for Bitcoin, I think that's pretty much it. I already covered XRP last night. XRP is doing very well, above 61 cents, although it's still below the trend line. You have Toncoin that's doing very well. You have Solana that's doing very well. In fact, in terms of Solana, we have the very first Solana spot ETF in Brazil. So that may kick things off. We know that there's several applicants in the US. I don't know when approval is coming, but the demand is certainly there. And if you chart Sol versus ETH, excuse me, Sol just formed a new high. So this gap between ETH and Sol is getting closer and closer and closer and closer. All right. That's about it. What else? Let's see. MicroStrategy having a big day today, almost 6%. Coinbase up 4%. That's what we want to see. Split adjustment today. Oh, today's the 10 for 1. Oh, it happened. Yeah, MicroStrategy was 1,300. Now it's 131. They did a 10 for 1 split today. And Coinbase is up. So that's good. Good overall. What else is up? Tesla's up slightly. Still 193. That's horrible. And Nvidia's horrible at 99. Jesus. What happened to Nvidia, man? Nvidia was at like 130 plus. I opened up some calls, and now it's down like 30%. But anyway, it doesn't matter. My calls like for next year. All right, let's do some Q&A. Got a good amount of people tuned in this morning. Let's see. Okay, just a lot of comments there. Move on. Super chat. Thanks, George, for helping us stay in the game all the time. You're welcome. And, you know, once you understand, once you're bullish about Bitcoin, you'll stay bullish forever. That's really what it comes down to. AJ in here says, George, I panic sold on a big dip. Should I buy back now and accept my mistake or wait to see if it goes back down? You know, I can't tell you what to do. You have to make that decision, right? Do you think we're going to go back down to 50 or 49K and possibly go lower? Or do you think we're going to recover? I don't know. This is why you don't panic sell, right? It's like, if you didn't panic sell, you wouldn't have to worry about this. You wouldn't be in this situation. ETH news, please. Continue to hold. I mean, it just seems like a lot of big institutions are selling ETH right now. Grayscale's dumping, Jump Trading's dumping. I don't know what it is, why they want to dump everything on ETH or all ETH right now. You can see ETH is horrible. Minus 24%. Minus 24% in the last 7 days. That's double of Bitcoin. Bitcoin's down 12% for the last 7 days, but it's double of that. That's kind of crazy. I don't know what it is. I don't know why right now everyone's shooting to dump ETH. Can you explain what a carry trade is and how and why it caused all markets to fail? I'm not an expert in that. I haven't done enough research, but here's the gist of what I think happened, and it makes a lot of sense. So, since Japan's been having a negative interest rate policy, which technically means you could borrow money and they would pay you to borrow money. Well, but just consider it at zero. Basically, you could borrow money for no interest at all. So, what a lot of people or companies did was just to borrow a whole bunch of yen and then they would spend it elsewhere. They would spend it in other markets and buy up equities or buy new companies or buy whatever, right? Because it was basically like free money. Um, but when Japan said, "Hey, you know what, we're not just going to give out free money anymore, we're going to start raising rates," that's what it caused others to start panicking. Because, first of all, the yen started gaining strength and other currencies started losing. So if you borrow money and you started buying things in other countries, they're now falling too, and you need to convert back. There's kind of like I would say like a panic to convert back to yen because yen is getting stronger and the dollar's losing strength against it. So there's that. And plus now they have to start paying interest, right? Like I don't know when their term is over, like they would have to pay interest. So I mean, that's kind of the gist of it. Basically, the rate hike made a lot of investors that borrowed a lot of money very, very scared. So they panic sold things to convert back. Um, Jefonda, I remember the feeling of watching the huge moves, BTC up, and feeling bad for not buying sooner. Now I just add what I can. There you go. You've learned from your mistakes. That's all. That's all anyone could ask for. Lotto says, started playing with options and leveraged myself to make $350 a day so I could quit my job. Almost punched my boss in the face the other day. It's a good goal to have, but be careful. Don't get too greedy. A lot of people start out playing leverage and they think they're a genius. Like, well, this is easy. I'm making a couple $100s every day, a few months later, um, they make a mistake and they lose it all, right? So if you're going to be an actual trader, be very disciplined. If you're gonna make that much, stick with it. Also set like make sure you use your stop losses, and also set like a limit in terms of how much you would lose in a day, and you just cut it, right? And never deviate from it, because if you do, you start making mistakes, and that's not what you want, right? Max, do you like Chainlink? Yes. Yes, I do. Silas says, I sold Bitcoin before the top, bought again when it dipped, but I don't think the fees and tax event was worth it. I don't know why you just shared that in bold, but yeah, because if you do sell, I mean, I never really talk about the taxes stuff, but yeah. If you sold, you gotta report that. You gotta pay the taxes on that, and sometimes it's not worth it. Like what Silas said. Any hope for Dot? There's always hope. I think in this cycle, someone like Dot will probably recover, but I don't know how high this cycle. I just don't hear enough about him right now. Like all the new DApps, they're coming on board to like a layer 2, or they're creating their own layer 3. I just don't see anyone coming and saying, well, I'm going to create a parachain for Polkadot. No one is saying that. Not one person is saying that. They're either going to like Base or Arbitrum or something like that, or they're going to Solana. No one is saying like, let me create a killer game as a parachain on Polkadot. Unless I'm wrong, I mean, I just don't hear about it. So if that's the case, then what is Polkadot going to do for the future? Chester, how is Coinbase lawsuit still active with SEC, losing so many? It's just not dismissed yet. Eventually it'll be dismissed, but it just hasn't happened yet. What do you think Algo would do this bull cycle? Roman, that's funny because someone just reached out, some huge Algorand fan, and he wants to fight an IFC against all the Algorand haters. I don't know who he wants to fight, but that's funny. Yeah, again, kind of like Polkadot. I just don't hear about anything, right? I'm sure there are stuff being developed on Algorand, but I just don't hear anything. So you look at this. Even with the XRP pump, 20% pump, it still couldn't break out of this trend line. That's the unfortunate thing. So like XRP always just like bumps up against a trend line and then just never escapes, right? So you had this big bump in 2017, 2018, and then here's the peak in 2021 for XRP. And then now, right, even pressed all the way against here, still not past it. You know, once XRP gets above like $1, then I think it'll be good to be bullish on it. But like right now, we're just like still so far off. Hawkage. Should I convert some of my AVAX to Sol? I don't know. I like AVAX still. They're just very, very, very heavy into gaming right now. They're backing all the big games. They're into RWA, but it's mostly for banks. And their meme positions are not doing well right now because the market conditions suck. So I still like AVAX. It's just they're just not as hot as Sol at this point. But it could flip. AVAX had a crazy gain in 2021. Man, 4,000 people tuning in today. That's awesome. Bullish on Beam. Yes. Well, speaking of Avalanche, Beam is a subnet on Avalanche. They have a lot of games. That's one of the reasons why I say Avalanche is so bullish on games or backing games. Sure, I'll say yes. Everything online says, why didn't you reply to my super chat? What was super chat? I'm scrolling now. You didn't write anything in your super chat. You just sent a $10 super chat with no question. So you didn't write anything. If you just want me to say thank you, okay, thank you. Tiger Meg. I don't think I'm going to have to worry about tax liabilities after this year, after losing 16K. I don't have enough skin left to grow into anything substantial enough for that amount. Well, unless you're saying that you like lost it all, which is at 16K, then sure. But if you have, I don't know, even 10K in the market now, I think you'll be surprised to see your gains in the last 4 months of this year, especially the last 2 months of this year. I think November, December this year is going to be absolutely crazy. So I wouldn't lose hope yet. Have you have any updates on Conflux Network? No. They kind of just like disappeared. Did they disappear or they're still here? But there were one of the big L1s out of China. I don't know if they disappeared or not. I don't really hear about Conflux. Oh, they were number 98. They're still here. I just don't know if China's ready to fully embrace a blockchain project yet. Ooh, Coinbase is up 6%. Although that's still really low. They were like at 230 or something just a while ago. No, they were at 257. Man. And MicroStrategy is now 4% after this split. What's the entire market? Entire market is doing good. Dow's plus 500, NASDAQ plus 206. Latest news here. Average consumer now carries $6,300 in credit card debt. People are stretched. You know, that's a good poll to ask among you guys. Let me throw a poll. I haven't had a poll for a while. All right. Let's see how much credit card debt people have. Jordan, what do you do? What do you like to do for fun? I like cars. I like movies. I like traveling. I can't believe the number of people that don't have passports. Yeah. I don't know. I like the IFC. These are things I find fun. Max says, hello, George. Are we early to crypto space? What do you think will cause mass adoption? Really good dApps and games. We don't have the killer dApp. Most chains are ghost chains, okay? We don't have a lot of killer dApps. That's what we need. We need a lot of killer dApps. All right, let's see what the poll says. 53% says you have no debt, which is great. 54%. 23% of you guys said 0 to 5,000. 13% 5 to 10,000, and 11% 10,000 plus. Here's the thing, okay? So I hate to say it, but so in total right now, out of the 500 votes, about 25% of you guys have $5,000 worth of credit card debt, at least. So you have to, at this point, before investing, you have to get rid of that debt. Otherwise, you're paying that crazy 25, 28% interest every month, and you'll never get out of it, right? So if you actually have that much credit card debt, 5,000 plus, figure out how to pay that off first before investing in something like Bitcoin or meme coins or whatever. You can't invest when you have so much debt that's going to destroy you and causing a lot more pressure. That pressure is going to make you make a mistake, right? Or rush things. Carlos, you say crypto gains offset that easy. Well, it's not so easy if we have an unexpected turn and we have a 32% dip, right? That causes people to also make mistakes because they see the money that they put in that they could have put in their credit card and pay that off. They put that into crypto and they see it dump 32%, right? So this is the reason why we have so many lettuce hands that dump whenever we have small movements or even big movements, right? Do you have an example of a killer dApp? Sure. A new social media platform. The next TikTok being on Solana or something like that, okay? That gets 100 million active users per month. We don't have anything like that in the crypto space. We don't even have anything that has like 1 million active users per month. Not on a blockchain. You have like hybrid stuff like Hamster Combat or whatever, which I don't even believe is using the ton blockchain. But we don't have a lot of dApps like that. In fact, we have none. And we don't have any games that's purely blockchain-based game, a Web3 game, that have millions of active users per month too. Candy Cravings, my wife's channel. I can't tell what that channel's about based on that name. Dave Ramsey is right about debt, credit card debt, bad debt. If you have debt on something that is considered an asset, like say for example your house, if you have a mortgage, obviously the opportunity cost. Well, let's just put it this way: like credit card debt, basically it's not an asset, right? Credit card debt is not an asset. So if you have it, pay it off first before you invest, at the very least. You know, like asset debt, that could be good because the asset itself could be appreciating faster than the debt, obviously, right? But still, if you can pay it off, that'd be the best. But there's a big difference between having just like credit card debt versus debt on a home. Even though some would argue having debt on a home is also bad because the opportunity cost is enormous, right? You could use that to buy, say, Bitcoin with it, right? But still, overall, start with the basics. Pay off all the non-essential debt. Stop spending on frivolous things. Stop going to Starbucks so much or stop going to eating out so much. Then you can use that to invest, right? That's what Dave Ramsey is really good at teaching. Do you have any positive thoughts on Fetch AI? Sure, I like the potential of it. I don't like how Coinbase is not supporting the upgrade. That kind of destroyed Gala. So hopefully it doesn't destroy the new ASI. Christian, hey George, what are your thoughts on Injective? I bought the dip. I still think they're good. They're good L1. DJX, I max on my credit cards, but they are interest free. I pay them off before the deal ends. As long as you continue to pay them off. Or you could put, like I have a business card, I put tens of thousands on every month, but I just pay it off every month, right? And collect the points. So that's different. If you have the ability to pay off the credit card every month, then do so, right? And you could spend it. There's benefits to that. But if you don't have the ability to pay them off, then don't spend so much. Mark says, do you honestly think any of the AI coins has a chance versus products like Apple, Microsoft, and Meta and Tesla go bring to the market? Can Fetch win against that? No. No. Fetch or any AI product in the crypto space is nowhere close to what those guys have developed because they have spent billions to develop them. Fetch and anyone else in the crypto space is like infants versus them at this point. Doesn't mean that one day we can't have one that rivals them, but it's just too early to make that call. Charles asking, MicroStrategy split, bullish or bearish? Of course it's bullish. Anytime something splits, it's bullish. And quite honestly, it was at 1,300, 1,700. It's just too high for a normal retail investor to get in, right? So a split, I think, was smart. They should have did a 100-to-1 split. So that would have made it even better. Do I need to report if I sold some Bitcoin if I live in Puerto Rico? I don't know, man. You go consult a tax accountant or a lawyer in Puerto Rico. I don't know what the rules are in Puerto Rico. Ray K, I reckon it's a good time to trim ETH for more Bitcoin sold. I have no idea. I don't know why everyone's selling off ETH, to be honest, right? I just knew that Grayscale was getting ready to dump them because they kept their fees at 2.5%, even though all their competitors are like 0.25%. So it was obvious that they knew that there would be massive outflows and they're going to collect as much fees as possible. All right, I guess it's time to end the poll. We got almost 1,200 people who voted. 54% says they have zero credit card debt. That's really good. If that's true, that's really good. I mean, you guys are financially savvy. 22% is 0 to 5,000, which is better, but still not great. And 24% of you guys have 5,000 or more credit card debt that you should really think about paying off. All right, we'll end that poll. Interesting. Bronco Land Clearing, thanks for everything. Really enjoy your content. No credit card debt here. We put Bitcoin on our balance sheet. We're a small business here in Texas. That's awesome. What do you do? Bronco Land Clearing. Do you clear land? Is that your business? I don't. Sounds interesting though, but it's great. Great to hear. Cardin Ham. George, I found the old wallet. I forgot about it from 2015. I have 7 Bitcoin in it. Sell and grab alts or keep it. Third option is just send it to me. I'll take care of it for you. I don't know what kind of question that is. I mean, I don't know if you want to sell it or like exchange it for alts. I'm not gonna give you that kind of financial advice. You figure that out. Staff, how many of the 15 billion shorts are actual positions, or are they orders that will get pulled as the market get close to execute? I can't tell you that, man. I don't know. Ray K, current portfolio, 75% in Bitcoin, 20% ETH, 5% Sol, and yada. Reckon it's good to trim ETH for Bitcoin. So I can't, that's like the number one question right now. Right? Should I sell ETH to buy Sol? Right now, of course, Sol is very hot. And I've been saying that. earlier this year I said Sol will flip Solana this cycle. And people laughed at it. Said there's no way that's going to happen, right? But now it's starting to get closer and closer and closer. But, you know, who knows? I'm going to defend ETH here a little bit. Who knows? Once Grayscale stops dumping their ETH from their, you know, ETF, maybe all the momentum comes back to ETH, right? Maybe ETH gets some crazy killer dApp on top of it that makes it very popular. Or memes get hot on ETH again and makes it super popular once again, you know? Things could happen. Things could happen. But for me, I like Sol a lot better. I think if you just look at the metrics, daily active users, daily volume, DEX volume, overall volume, you look at transactions per second. I mean, transactions overall in a day. I mean, every measurable metric, new addresses, the active addresses per month. I mean, I don't even know. Every single active or measurable metric for Sol have already exceeded Ethereum. So if it flips, it actually makes sense. And all the popular memes are on Sol too, right? So me personally, I think Sol's going to have a much bigger upside this cycle versus Ethereum. But I may be 100% wrong on that. I don't have a crystal ball. Vatican. Is that Vatican? Yeah. OF account equals no more credit card debt. Well, if you have a successful OF account, congratulations. I do not have a successful OF account. They won't even let me open one up. So, congrats if you do. All right, we're seeing good. We're seeing good pump back up to 58,000 here. All right, guys. Overall, to conclude, U.S. market's doing good today. We got some good economic data. But what I wanted you guys to get ready for is all the whale activity and buying that's going on right now, including from Larry Fink. There are a lot of movements right now. They're preparing for something huge later this year or next, and so am I, and so should you guys. So smash the like, subscribe to the channel. I'll see you guys tonight. Last few questions. Giga, I have no idea what that is. And what are your thoughts on AVAX? Do you have any knowledge of Powell doing an earlier rate cut? Rebecca, no earlier rate cut. It will be in September, and I do like AVAX a lot. All right, have a good one, guys. I'll see you tonight. Take care.